YouTube, you're going to want to see this. Let me know when we're good. We're good. Facebook, how are you? We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, how to actually size your positions properly. What I'm saying might shock you, but it is the only way that I have ever seen a large group of people turn successful. And they all are around me right now. We're going to teach you how to truly be consistently profitable. We're going to teach you how to actually position size correctly, when to ramp up and when to ramp down. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. I'm not going to even take a lot of your time tonight. This is going to be a very quick episode as I have to go, but I did want to talk a little about it today because people were asking me, Mark, it's like you're sizing down. You're telling us you're sizing down in a trade, and then I know when you're sizing up, and the one that you sized up on just works so well, but I want to teach it to you today. I don't want to take a lot of your time. By watching this video, you are already agreeing to hold Mark Melnick and T3 Live harmless and not responsible for anything. If you don't agree, kindly exit this video, and if you do agree, let me change your life as a trader right now. We're going to go into it real quickly, how to build true conviction in your trading. If you approach Mark Melnick 9, 10 years ago, Mark Melnick would have stood up in front of you and said that every single trader should take the same amount of position size as everybody else. Now, 10 years ago, Mark Melnick was a 10-year veteran, and Mark Melnick was absolutely wrong. However, there wasn't a bad bone in Mark Melnick's body. He was coming from an honest place, and he truly believed that with all his heart, that traders, they should discover what, a unit of risk in which they can apply, or a risk unit. And what they should do is, let's say that number is $500, that on every single trade, they should risk $500 or $50 or $100. Whatever your risk unit might be, that's what you should risk on every trade. And when you're just looking at charts and nothing else and looking at setups, you will notice that that is true. The truth is, it's going to be impossible for you in real time to really judge and start giving rating scales and systems to know what technical setup is better than others. The truth is, there is so much more to a trade. I'm going to prove that to you today. I'm going to show you how to truly size your trades properly. And then I'm going to just show you an example of, I don't know, today of how I did it and how it ended up for me in a very tight day in the market. So, um, excuse the poker analogies, but that, and analogies are so important when I teach people things, because if you're, for example, a poker player and I start coming to you with poker analogies, I have a better chance of penetrating your brain and teaching you the information. The power of a teacher is the ability to instill the information within me onto you effectively. So, I get it asked all the time, like, Mark, why did you take so much size? What is trading conviction? Conviction is fairly defined as a firmly held belief or opinion. In the world of trading, you're going to hear traders say, oh, that was a conviction trade. And conviction trades are one that are taken with large size and are often responsible for the bulk of the trader's P&L at the end of the year. One of the most important characteristics of great traders is sizing big when the odds are in their favor. One of the strategies that I do when I have a medium conviction idea, I am right well over 99% of the time. It seems almost impossible. It seems almost too good to be true. The truth is, if I've never seen somebody do something like that, I would have trouble believing it. And this is coming from a 20-year veteran who is actually doing it. One of the most important things is to size big when the odds are in your favor. Not sizing big on your high probability setups is like not betting big when you have, for example, pocket aces in Texas Hold'em. And I got a little stupid photo here of pocket aces that I can show you. It's like, see, look how well I prepared for this video. It's like looking down at that, and hopefully you have more chips than that on your table, but even if you don't, it's like looking at that and not betting big. You know the feeling of pocket aces. It's this feeling of power, it's this feeling of strength, and I want to literally teach you how to build that in actual trading. When you're actually trading, how to garner that conviction. And in the long run, you're not going to be able to capitalize big if you don't capitalize on your winning trades correctly. Capitalizing on winning trades is just as important as keeping losing trades small. You hear everybody preach it, but do you actually see people doing it in real time? Everybody could tell you what's wrong with you. It's very easy. Are you sick and tired of not having consistent profits? Are you sick and tired of having your losses outweigh your gains? Are you sick and tired of having your own brain and thinking? Then let my brain think for you. I will do it for you. Have you heard things like that along those lines before? Knowing the probabilities of a trade is one of the most important things possible. Then I'm going to demonstrate it for you at the end of my spiel. And to have conviction on a trade, you need to have an accurate estimate of the probability of the trade becoming a winner. For me, my medium conviction trades, as of right now, are 99.86% effective in the past 4 years. The past 4 years, if I have a medium conviction idea, I will profit on it, not every time, but just about every single time. Now, how does he do it? Where does this come from? How's that even possible? It sounds like nonsense. It sounds like BS. Until I look at the numbers and I'm like, what on earth is going on here? Why is the Newsbeat live room the largest, fastest growing trading room in the nation? Why? Why are we growing so exponentially? Because we are bringing this conviction and teaching traders how to do it. And this is what I'm trying to do for you today. You cannot have conviction if you don't have a proven system that you know has an edge, period. A lot of traders assume the effectiveness of a strategy by just what happened on the last few trades. You obviously need to have a larger sample size of the trades to determine a system's effectiveness. And if you don't know how the trade should pan out, you won't be able to ride the bumps on the road, and you won't be able to find it within you to size up like that. You want to know what breeds confidence? Competence. Competence breeds confidence. Conviction is derived from confidence, and confidence comes from having a defined, truly consistent strategy with an edge. Psychology, of course, does play a role in this, of course, as if you've watched any of my 400, 500 videos that I have put out, you will know this. But the base of all successful trading comes from knowing what you should be doing during the trading day, and more importantly, what you shouldn't be doing during the trading day. And the only way to know this is to have a system and rules. The only funny thing is, with my example of the pocket aces, my strategy has way higher odds for you than winning even heads up on pocket aces, by the way. And differentiating between conviction and stubbornness, and this is where a lot of you traders go astray. You let your convictions prevent you from cutting a losing trade before it gets out of hand. Even when I mean, and I'm in front of the room here as well. I do this broadcast live to Facebook and YouTube if you're watching, as well as the Newsbeat live room as well. And I will ask the Newsbeat live room right now, and I will ask them, how often do you see me cut a trade, take a micro loss, and say this stock is probably going to work and it's probably going to go in the desired direction, yet I cut it out anyway? The misuse of conviction most often occurs with short selling. And you know it's a junk company that will reverse, but you're too early, you're getting squeezed, and instead of using conviction to justify your a 50%, a 75% drawdown on your position, maybe you should just cut it, take the small paper cut, and then reattack higher. And too many traders blow up from a conviction trade that's actually nothing more than pure stubbornness. You need to study your best trades every day, and I'm going to demonstrate this for you shortly. I don't have a lot of time here. Your brain needs to see the same setup play out over and over again to build conviction. Just like an athlete trains every day, you as a trader need to train your brain every day. Study your best trades over and over again and remind yourself how they usually play out so you can take big size on them when they actually approach again. Now, I'm a big proponent of avoiding the 43-57, and those are strategies that work 43 to 57% of the time, not because there aren't people out there who can make them work. In fact, in my cell phone alone, I probably have a good 5, 6 dozen traders who make that work. But throughout my career, I probably have about 50 to 80,000 people in which those strategies do not work for. So it's not about trying to have somebody prove something that I can make a strategy work 45% of the time because my winners so outgain my losers. It's not about that. That's going to cause psychological toxicity. And in my 12 years experience as a broadcaster, the majority of traders cannot do that. And again, that's not to say there aren't some, really rare, diamonds in the rough. I mean, right? So there are many factors that will cause this trader like yourself, for example, to not have conviction. And experience is a big one that I really didn't mention here. But I think it all comes back to having a system with an edge and taking the time to study beyond the charts and scenarios on a daily basis will actually help the systematic development of your skills to develop this conviction in the first place. So now I'm going to go throughout my day. And you have to realize when I'm talking about this conviction here, I just want to point out the first to help you up, the first to offer a hand and help you up are the ones who know how it feels to fall down. So I'm coming from a place where I know what it's like to bat 50% and make money and do it consistently, making money year after year while batting 50%. But most people cannot do that. Most people do better with strategies that work over 70% of the time. That's why all my strategies work over 70% of the time. So instead of somebody telling you how to, somebody like me telling you how to have the right mindset and all the psychologies and the psychology and the mindset of a consistent trader, instead of going through the hundreds and hundreds of hours that I've done videos on that like before, I'm actually going to show you how it panned out in real time today, just really quick, and how it actually felt for me. So, in the beginning of the day, the first thing I do for traders is I literally try to find um, a paragraph to say. So, right over here, 8:59 a.m., October 16, 2019. Good morning, bandits. Watching one and done Mark 5 and VWAP reversals. If you don't know what those are, watch the Newsbeat video that says, that describes my trading strategies for this entire earnings season. I spell out what each of those strategies are. There's a video dedicated to it. Watch my videos. Um, I'm going to be doing the one and done Mark 5 and VWAP reversal strategies on Bank of America, Abbott Labs, and UAL. News flow is king today! Exclamation mark. Much better earnings for tomorrow, meaning we have Netflix, we have IBM, et cetera, et cetera. Take it easy. So what I'm basically saying is my conviction is 1 out of 10 on these names. I'm literally spelling my conviction out ahead of time to the room so they know what kind of size to take, saying news flow is king today. And if we're going to basically make money, if news flow is king, it doesn't mean it has a castle, a beautiful queen with a gorgeous crown, and a bunch of knights standing around them with their heads bound down in like Game of Thrones. No, this is news flow's king today. King meaning like if I am going to hit something big today, it will be through news flow. So the day started out basically with me watching Bank of America on a 1 minute chart as the market opened, and Bank of America, and it gapped up obviously on earnings. It shot up, and I'm looking to do a one and done. So I'm looking to buy through the next 1 minute high, and it pulled down, and it pulled down, and it pulled down, and it pulled down. And you know what I said as that was happening? As this stock was pulling down right here, I was telling the room I'm tearing down. I started at 200 contracts, like ready to buy 200 option contracts, or the equivalency of 20,000 shares. Then I reduced it down to 100, down to 10,000 shares. Then I reduced it down to 50, which is like 5,000 shares. Then I reduced it to 25 contracts over here, and then I just said, screw it. It's not doing what I want it to do. I'm ignoring this trade, and I moved on. immediately I switched over to Adobe, which was setting up really nice on a Mark V strategy. And this is important. I came in with an Apple overnight, which I sold profitably Apple puts, but I don't want to get into that. That's how my day actually started, selling the Apple puts early. But I just want to talk about the trades that I opened and closed today for the sakes of this discussion. So right over here, short through 269.89. Target is 269.02. I shorted here through 269.89. It went down a little. It went up. I took 10 contracts. For me, that's the equivalency of 1,000 shares. So very light for me. It went in my favor, went a little against me, and I literally took a 6-cent loss on those contracts, $60. Now you might be saying, you're a 20-year veteran, Mark, and you're taking 10 option contracts. How does that even make sense? Where is your conviction? Exactly. My conviction was not present. So I'm relaying this to the room before I even take the position. I tell them where I'm going to short or buy puts in this case, same mentality, where I'm going to short and how many contracts I'm actually taking for this play. So they knew I was taking 10 contracts. For me is very light, a very light low conviction idea. And had I held it, I could have made 1,500 to 2 grand for this little move here on the 5-minute. If I held it for 15 minutes, I could have been up 1,500 to 2 grand. Instead, I took a $60 loss. And what did I tell you guys as I took the $60 loss? What did I tell you guys? I told the room it's probably going to still break day lows, even though I'm taking a pretty much a break even. And many traders out there will actually use stop losses as ways to get out of their position because they're in, and the stock will either hit their take target profit or literally stop them out. And unfortunately, that is a failing system for the vast majority of traders. Again, you can't make a blanket statement and say all. I'm sure it works for a few people, but for every one person it works for, it fails for 50 to 100. After that trade, I went over to Abbott Labs. So I took a $60 loss. Keep in mind, you know, I'm doing damn well this month. Right over here, I do a Mark V short on Abbott Labs. And again, all these names have news flow behind them. Adobe, for example, is downgraded by Citigroup this morning. And Abbott Labs, I don't remember the news offhand. Was it earnings on Abbott? Yeah, it was earnings on Abbott. So I was looking to short through 80.44. I shorted through 80.44. The stock started climbing up against me here. I actually called it a VWAP reversal long. I didn't take it. And I got stopped out. 10 contracts again. I lost about 150 bucks. So at this point, I was up like almost 300 bucks or whatever from Apple, a little less. And I was down about 200 bucks from 2 trades. So the Apple was from the overnight. Now all of a sudden I'm up chump change. Enough to go to a Chipotle Mexican grill and get a couple burritos. I'm not up a lot of money, but you know what? My mentality is good. When I actually sat back and watched Adobe actually plummet, the old Mark Melnick would have gotten mad. But I wasn't mad because I knew it was a low conviction trade. Going back to the pocket aces situation, I was holding like not unsuited connectors like a 7-8 if you were using stupid poker analogies here or beautiful poker analogies here. I wasn't holding pocket aces when this was happening. And then what happened today? Afterwards, it was international paper. It had a beautiful bull flag. It had beautiful news flow coming out. It had tremendous option activity. The fundamentals for the company are very strong. It's looking extremely bullish on the daily too. So in a name like International Paper, I'll come in and I'll take in a couple hundred calls. And after I got those couple hundred calls, when we were calling it down here, and yeah, Newsbeat Live members were buying it all the way down here at the bottom of that green bar. Isn't that beautiful? The bottom end of that green bar. That's where we buy it. And it equivocated towards a really good day for me. It was equivocal. Now, I didn't make a lot of money today per se, but I was able to squeeze a little better than 6 grand today. Why? Because I knew when to pull in my chips. Hypothetically speaking, I had way better than pocket aces, but in a poker analogy, you can't really have a better pre-flop hand than pocket aces. I was holding pocket aces. And the reason why I was able to raise conviction is because you need other things to actually garner conviction. The problem with most trading rooms are they don't focus on the news flow. They focus on strict technical analysis. And if you're sitting there and focusing on just what the chart is telling you, I could tell you exactly what happens to you. And the same thing happened to me. You ready? You ready? Remember what I said. Remember what I said to you that the first person to help you up are the ones who know how it feels to fall down. That's what I'm doing here. I know what it feels like to fall down. I do. I know what it feels like to fall down. I'll prove it to you. How many people out there, for example, name any chart setup you like. Let's talk about a bull flag. Things that people like bullishly. Most people like bullishly. Most people argue it's the best long formation. Some people feel differently, but we're just using an example here. How many people don't know why they take these bull flag formations and sometimes they'll just run on a good streak and it'll work and it'll work and it'll work and then it'll fail and fail and fail and they don't know why it failed and they give back money. And then they're told they need to look for other things like the volume and then the volume needs to elevate, but you don't really know before it happens because you're sort of waiting for it to happen if you already bought into it. How many people take these technical formations and you almost are confused on why sometimes it works and why sometimes it fails. And it fails just as often as it works, pretty much. You're basically batting close to 50%, and you have no idea why. How many people feel that way on just strict technical positions? I have. Looking at the same formation and seeing it work sometimes and seeing it fail sometimes, like, why does that happen? And most people don't know. And I didn't know. So what I had to do, you Suzanne, Conrad, you too, happens often, Alex, you are Katie. Yeah. And I was sitting there for a while trying to figure out why on earth this is happening. So what I tried to do is I tried to combine more things into the mix. Let me give you an example. You're on a date. You're going out on a blind date. I've actually never been on a blind date, but I'm sure people have. Let's say you're going out on a blind date. And before you accept this blind date, you get pieces of information. Now, what if you heard that the person you're going out with on a blind date, whomever it may be, guy, gal, whatever else, the person you're going on a blind date with is really attractive in the face, has a beautiful face? How many people would say, okay, that's cool? How many people would give it a thumbs up? Sure, why not, right? And I'm generalizing here. But then if I told you the person is an axe murderer, you might feel different about it once you got more information. Now, what if I told you the person has a really beautiful face, a really great body in which you're attracted to? Some people like them in all shapes and sizes, whatever floats your boat. They have a really good face and a really hot body. Now, many people will be like, yeah, that sounds like a better candidate. Now, what if I told you that that person is also a very caring, loving person, is a good person, never backstabs somebody, donates to charities, loves animals, loves people, is mentally sane, Thomas? What if I told you that person was like that? All of a sudden, that person became way hotter. The chances of you having a really good date with somebody like that increased exponentially. Now, what if I told you with that the person is looking for some sort of, for those who want these things, I'm sure some people want, but just get with the analogy, please. That person wants a long term relationship, and that person is caring and giving. All of a sudden, the person is developing into somebody that you could see yourself with even before you met them. You could see yourself with before you even met the person. The same thing is true with stocks. If you think that you could judge a stock solely by the chart, I've had success in my life doing that, and I can do that, but I will tell you, there is so much more to garnering conviction than a chart. And that is why people talk about putting the same risk behind the trades. That person was me. That person was me 10 years ago as a 20-year veteran. 10 years ago, I would tell people this. I would say put in the same amount of money for every trade because you don't know what kind of bull flags are going to be good. You don't know what kind of bull flags are going to be bad. You don't know what kind of bear flags. You don't know what kind of setup will be good. You don't know what kind of setup will be bad. And that's the problem. The truth is, if you're not adding things that can truly give conviction beyond what you see in a chart, if you think that you could just rate stocks and tell you how good certain setups are and raise your conviction just by what's happening on the chart and adding in more parameters, and if your stock is doing this, you get 5 Super Mario Brothers stars, and if your stock is leaning up like this, you get 3 more Super Mario Brothers stars, and whoever has most stars wins the game. I will tell you, trading is going to be a very long journey for you. And most likely, you will fail. I am an exception to that rule. And I know that. And that doesn't help you. That doesn't help you to just look at a chart and say there's a nice setup. It is a big part of the game. 100%. Don't misconstrue me. Don't misconstrue my words. But when it actually comes to adding conviction, you need to know when to add it. I have a good feeling tomorrow. I have a good feeling tomorrow that I'm going to make $10,000 or more intraday. It's a feeling. I could be wrong. Could be right. Usually, when I have conviction ideas, statistically, based on my own track record here, they tend to go back to back. There tends to be a gap, and then when they hit, they tend to hit and hit and hit. And I don't consider today a home run day, but I definitely consider it nice to make 6 grand on a day that, in my opinion, wasn't even that great. But I feel tomorrow's going to be a great day, and I feel we're going to hit it then. Just for the record, just to be official, I officially opened up Beyond Calls as of today. I know I did a video earlier this week. I came in that morning, and Beyond was initiated with a lower price target, and I ignored it. And just to go to Beyond Meat here, and I ignored it, and that was right over here, and it gapped down. Then I ignored it again, and some people in the room took it here, and we pretty much called the dead bottom on an algorithmic support line here, and it moved up a little today. But today was the day that I officially did buy Beyond Meat. Okay, so right over here, I'll just show you exactly what I did at 3:54 p.m. October 16th. That is today. I bought modestly, very modest. October 25th beyond the $125 calls, and I paid $2.31 per contract, which is $231 per contract. So it will give me at least a potential move into next week to see what happens. Again, it's just a very minor position, and I'm not referring to this position for how I could do it, but when news flow comes in, it comes in a big way. And that is something that you have to learn. And if you're trading in an environment that discounts news flow, odds are you're not going to make it as a trader. Odds are, if you're not putting any emphasis on the news that comes out with names and you're strictly just using charts, odds are you will lose money. Most likely. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm an example that traded with charts for 15 out of my 20 years, 14 and a half out of, no, Sorry, 16 out of my 20 years, 15 and a half of my 20 years, I was basically trading without news at all, like any news flow or whatever. Like I would read, yeah, I would trade a gap stock, and obviously that stock had news, but I wouldn't really interpret the news for conviction. And I've done that. And I've done that for a while, and I promise you, if that is you, yes, it makes perfect sense to have a predefined amount of risk per trade. Whether you're risking $10 or $100 or $500 or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever your number is per trade, it definitely makes sense. But if you want to hit true consistency, if you want to hit numbers like our room members, and again, just JB, I'm 22 wins and 3 small losses out of my last 25 trades. He's batting 88%. He's batting better than me. Thank you, Mark. Consistency feels good. All one and done in Mark 5 strategies. Those are the people that are going to get ahead. If you're interested to see how I can make a ton of money potentially tomorrow or definitely for the rest of the month, I already feel it and I'm very confident. And some people might think that I'm coming to you in a cocky fashion, like, oh, he's so cocky, he's going to make. No, ladies and gentlemen, the confidence is derived from my conviction. And I have conviction in my stats and I have conviction in what I do, which is why I can talk to you like this confidently. Try to add as many things as you can in a picture before you garner conviction. I hope you guys enjoyed this Newsbeat show. You will want to join the Newsbeat live room. You want to get the best deals that T3 has ever thrown. Links are in the description. Happy trading, make money. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.